IrieJam from the
Okay, so we're back. It's IrieJam Radio 93.5 FM, and I have a very special guest inside the studios and a very special friend inside the studios. None other than Sir David Rodigan. How are you, my friend?
Well, it's great to be back in the Big Bagel. It's so good I could take a big chunk out of it. We've moved on. No longer the Big Apple, it's the Big Bagel.
It's a big bagel.
And Roy, it's great to be back on IrieJam. I haven't been on the station, actually in the station for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So I want to say hi to everyone in the IrieJam family, keeping the music alive, keeping the culture alive. And of course, worldwide. That's the great thing now.
Yeah.
We can watch you.
Yes.
I mean, apparently people can see me talking to you.
They can see you. You're right now live on the IrieJam 360 app, which is really taken off since we've launched it. The good thing about the app, people feel like they're actually in the room with us.
Yeah.
And what we have concert that we stream, like we did Rebel Salute Live. We did the fundraiser that they did in Jamaica. We did Shaggy Show Live. We've done Sumfest Live. And now people from the comfort of their homes, instead of getting on a plane, can see all these concerts in their living room.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And talking of concerts, can I get boasty for a moment?
Oh, please.
Okay, I'll put my boasty hat on. Actually, I can't put my boasty hat on because I'm wearing the IrieJam headphones. But we have just sold out the Royal Albert Hall.
Wow.
We sold it out yesterday morning in 3 hours.
Wow.
That's for the Outlook Orchestra, David Rodigan and the Outlook Orchestra. And the concept is a 22-piece orchestra. And we trace the heritage of Jamaican music. So we begin with Don Drummond and the Scatterlights. We move up into the rocksteady period with Phyllis Dillon. We move into the early reggae period, then into the roots period, then into the dancehall period, then into the influence of Jamaican music.
Right.
So we go into drum and bass, and we end up with a grand finale of Redemption Song.
Wow.
We have traced the origins of the music, and the orchestra leader, the conductor, the maestro, is Tommy Evans, and he has personally, with his associates, transcripted and transposed every note of music, every drum roll from every track that we've chosen. I'm not exaggerating.
Wow.
All these musicians, 22 of them, are reading every single note on a piece of music on a score sheet that they have to play. So when we went to Croatia, for example, we had a string section at the Roman amphitheater in Pula. Thousands of people in a building that's, well, what's left of it, that's over 2,000 years old.
Wow.
And we traced the history of Jamaican music live on stage. So we've got special guest vocalists. We've got Bitty McLean. We've
Wow.
got Kiko Bunn. And then, of course, for the Royal Festival Hall, we had Protege come on for the grand finale. We had Horace Andy. So in terms of what we're doing, to me, in my 40th year of broadcasting, it's been an incredible journey, Roy. And thanks to everyone here at IrieJam, who, of course, have been championing the music. And I used to be a broadcaster here with you
Right.
guys back in the day. And then last Friday night, a week ago today, a documentary called Reggae Fever on the history of Jamaican music and its influence on British culture was broadcast, when we had phenomenal viewing figures. And I was a kind of, if you like, the narrative through it. My love affair as a non-Jamaican
Right.
with the music of your countryman and your countrywomen, with the music of Jamaica. I mean, this is the thing we have to remember. This is a relatively small island
Yes.
in the Caribbean, and yet its music and it has impacted upon the whole world.
Indeed. Now, one question I would love to ask you. Could you bring that to the States?
Well, do you know what? We could. We could.
I would love Avery Fisher Hall, which is the equivalent to where you're doing the concert now.
Right.
It would be amazing.
Well, technically we could, in that all the music is there. So Maxi Priest described to me, he was part of, I think, of a Motown review, and they can take that and they give the music to the chosen musicians, and of course with a bit of rehearsal, maybe those musicians can read that music, because all they've got to do, I say in inverted commas, is read it and play it. So that's why a Croatian string section of the 22-piece orchestra, the rest came from England, they were able to reproduce every note that was written for every piece. So Perfidia, for example, when we sung that, the great, Phyllis Dillon classic, Charlene Hector from part of the orchestra, she's one of the singers, when she sung Perfidia, I mean, the place erupted.
I can imagine.
So technically we could, you never know what will happen, but It's been a great celebration of the music and the culture, and 40 years in broadcasting, it's been a real joy for me, and I'm back with the BBC, and the documentary is Reggae Fever.
Right.
You can only watch it on the BBC iPlayer, so if you're living in the United Kingdom, you can watch it. Sadly, for now, you can't watch it outside of the UK unless you have means to do that.
Okay.
Say no more.
Now, David, it seems, and I've been following your career most of my life, it seems that you are busier now than you ever was. It's like, what's going on?
I'll tell you what's going on. There's a new generation coming through, not just in England and not just in the UK,
Right.
but worldwide, but especially in Europe, who are fascinated by this music. So you've got young ska, rocksteady reggae bands
Those young bloods.
coming through in America, in California, and you know, that are coming through, and they love the music, and they're replicating it, they're reproducing it in their own way with original songs, but they're taking the roots and foundations of the rhythms and the structure of the music, and they're bringing it to life. So this is the great thing about the music that we love, that we call it reggae. But there are so many divisions, so many aspects of the music. So if you reflect back on it, once you discover it, let's say you discover it via Sean Paul,
Right.
back in 2005, or Shaggy, in terms of a dancehall, for example, that leads you to another dancehall artist, who's Steely Cleveland, and you start to, who's King Jammy, and then you realize what's dub music, and of course what you're doing is you're opening in Aladdin's cave.
Wow. Pandora's box.
It's Pandora's box, because you can't believe what's behind the door. You know, Cox and Studio One, I always remember Cox and Dodd saying to me, when Bob Marley was lying in state and he was transferring tracks from the Wailers to make an album, he's still running a business, right? God bless Cox and Dodd. He said, he opened the tape store door, and I stood there and I said to myself, this is Aladdin's cave.
Wow.
And I said to him, where do you find everything? He said, oh, don't worry, I find it. And he'd been offered, he'd already been offered stuff from producers. And it's like, it's absolutely incredible what's been happening. It really is. And you know, if I could play one song, do you know what? Can you cue up track 12?
Track 12.
Because I was thinking the other day that there are songs that I've listened to over the years, and there was one song that I heard, and it was 50 years ago. 50 years ago, I heard this song, and it still resonates today.
Wow.
And it's the beauty of the music, because think about how simple this is. It's a bass, it's a drum, it's a piano, it's a saxophone, and 3 guys singing. Can you play this song, please?
Wow.
We're not talking sugar minor here. We're talking the tenors.
Wow.
2, 3.
Feel no pain,
Wow.
I'll be back again. Have no fear, I'll be right there. I'll put the pills
Wow.
for your fever and chills. Just pay your dues, my friend. Take my medical news. Oh, doctor, come to meet my patient. Oh, doctor, come to meet my patient. Oh, doctor, I want pressure that's light.
50 years ago, I heard this song in a record shop in Oxford, and I was besotted with it. It was something so beautiful. Feel no pain, I'll be back again. I've got the pills for your fevers and chills. You know, this, who are these guys? The tenors, where do they come from? What is this? It's like, what's going on? Jamaican music, Cox and Studio One. And if you go to the next track, just jump to the next track. You get that
Wow.
You hear the connection with the saxophone, and you're looking at that connection to American music with Alton Ellis singing, Ain't That Loving You?
You think I love you for just one thing.
Big up King Mello.
To you, my love, it may be the way it seems, but I love the way you carry yourself. I even love the way you wear your hair. Ain't that love in you?
10 years ago we lost him, Alton Ellis. This music is so powerful. It is Irie. You know, here I am, 360, IrieJam in the studios, I'm on the television. People can watch us because of what do you call it?
Modern technology.
The modern. Yeah, but you know what is it?
IrieJam 360.
IrieJam 360.
yeah.
I mean, we're on. How's my hair? Am I having a bad hair day? Do I need makeup?
David, you're good. You're always good because what you bring, no one else in the world brings. Now, I know this is the time of the year when you do venture out and come to the stateside.
Yeah.
And I know that Thanksgiving is special for you here in New York City. The other day we were, as a matter of fact, Mike was here the other day. We were celebrating Guy Fawkes Night.
Right.
Here.
What?
Well, me and Mike. Me and Mike.
Yeah, because you're English guys, right?
Me and Mike.
I mean, I will, of course, ladies and gentlemen, I will ignore the fact that I am being insulted. I've walked in here and Roy is deliberately wearing a
I knew you were coming.
Chelsea shirt.
I knew you were coming. I knew you were coming.
All Arsenal fans, Arsenal people say to me, David, how could you appear in the same room?
Wow.
And there's also somebody listening called Chef Garfield, who happens to like a team called...
Yeah, Man United.
Man who? Man who? Man United?
My sentiments exactly.
What's happened to them? Chef Garfield is bursting a blood vessel at the back of... He's actually taken his chef's hat off.
Yeah.
And he's going ballistic because Rodigan's on the radio saying, what happened to Manchester United? Yeah. Are they united anymore?
Apparently not.
What happened to Manchester City? Don't mention Manchester City in the same breath as Manchester United to Chef Garfield.
No.
But seriously.
They played a good game today, though. Man City played a good game today.
Got to hail up Pee Wee, got to hail up Chin. I'm changing the time. Got to hail up Chin, hail up Sting International, one of the great producers.
Yes.
And got to hail up Red Fox. And this summer, if all goes according to plan, the BBC, we're coming to New York in June this year to make a special radio documentary about the origins of reggae music in the Great Big Apple.
Wow.
From Brooklyn, Bronx, Flatbush, from the days of, Clock Tower Records with Brad Osborne. We're looking at the history of the music and we're looking at documenting that as a Radio 1 Extra BBC special this summer. For Groovin' in the Park, because if all goes according to plan, I'll be at Groovin' in the Park.
Yeah, I heard the calls were made and they were trying so hard to get it. So I'm glad that it's done.
Yeah. I'll be at Groovin' in the Park.
Oh my gosh!
If all goes according to plan, I don't see why it shouldn't. And I'm delighted that the BBC are doing this because every year in February we go down to Jamaica and we record the new Young Bloods. And the most amazing thing happened last Sunday: 10,000 tickets in advance, sold out. Chronics and Protégé at the Alexander Palace. This is one of the great rock and roll venues. The Rolling Stones, you name it, they've all played there. And they sold it out.
Wow.
That's Chronics and Protégé. So the music is in a healthy place, but I have concerns about our music, and I'm going to voice them.
Oh, please.
Okay? I'm not going to hold back here.
Please.
Because everyone's saying it's all about Afrobeats. It's all about grime. Yeah, but what about reggae? What about dancehall? We must never, ever forget the potency of our music.
Amen.
It has a great heritage and it has a valuable currency. And I'm concerned that it's not being recognized in the way it should be and could be. And I'm not disrespecting Afrobeats, but Afrobeats is glorified dancehall. I'm sorry, am I just nuts here?
Preach!
Sorry, no, but sorry, to me, what happened if we didn't have Steely and Clevie, if Junior Rodigan's listening, he pointed out, because he's based up in Boston, he was telling me, if you didn't have Steely and Clevie, who built all those rhythms,
there'd be no Afrobeat.
Because, let's fight. Do you want me to keep going?
Let's call a spade a spade.
So what I'm saying is, I think it's important that we must never... do you know what I can't wait for? I can't wait for Rihanna's reggae album.
Okay.
I can't wait for that album. Because there's a woman who loves this music.
Right.
Loves it. Is devoted to it. She's making... If we're to believe everything we hear, she's making a reggae album.
Right.
Protégé is touching new bases. Chronics is incredible what he's achieving. But some of my buddies have been down in Jamaica and they're saying a lot of the young blood producers in Jamaica are emulating Afrobeats.
Wow.
Hey, so I'm concerned.
How is the 44876 album doing in Europe?
How is the what?
the 44876 Shaggy and Sting album doing it in Europe.
Oh, well, that's interesting because a lot of people were what? Shaggy and Sting? I mean, it's an interesting combination. I can't say for sales because I don't know. Difficult now with sales. I mean,
Right.
there was a time you go to a record shop, you know something's selling because everyone's asking for it. You know when a record's popular because someone coming in with the title written down on a piece of paper.
Yes.
Right. Those days are gone at mums and pop shops. So there's no real way. So and there's another thing. Oh, it's number one on the iTunes streaming and all. Yeah, but we have to take all that with a pinch of salt. The truth is, it's very difficult now to measure what we would traditionally call hit records.
Right.
And it can take a hell of a long time for something to gather momentum. I think it was a strange call, you know, Sting and Shaggy, but it has generated a lot of interest. We'll see what the summer brings because they're looking to do shows in the new year down into the summertime at the festivals. There would be purists who'd say, well, what's that about? There would be Sting fans from the Police who'd say, what's that about? There'd be Shaggy fans saying, you know, but some of the songs on there were interesting, but it's not, I think a lot of people were surprised by it, but it's generated a lot of interest.
Right. Well, there it is, Sir David Rodigan live in the building. We're going to take a short break and come back. Keep it locked. David, you're going to hang out with us a little longer, right? You got some songs to play.
No, of course I have.
Matter of fact, I'm going to start the break and then I'm going to let you come around here because you know this is
Okay.
your studio.
All right.
And you do what you do best. Because one thing I know about David, as much as he loves the dance hall,
He can't mix.
Loves him some radio. He loves him.
No, I couldn't mix a cake. If I was in the Great Bake Off, I'd be in a toilet sweeping up and clearing up and washing the plates.
Oh my God.
Great mix-off, a great bake-off.
Back home, we say you can't mix Kool-Aid.
You're not joking.
Let's take a break and come back. David Rodigan live right here on IrieJam Radio. Don't move.
You're listening to IrieJam.
This is IrieJam playing the soundtrack to your life, the songs that made reggae great. And the next song really is a classic by a lady who still performs. She recently was in concert in London for the Jamaica Basic Schools Foundation charity. It was a big black and white ball at the Metropolitan Hotel in central London. And when she took to the stage, it was something to behold. It really was an amazing performance. Still got loads of energy, and that voice is still a powerful force to be reckoned with. So expressive. And this was one of her big hits at Coxon Studio One, an IrieJam reggae anthem. Marcia Griffiths and Feel Like Jumping. the energy, the joy, the vibe in those recordings at Coxsone Studio 1, 1968, rolling into 1969. Marcia Griffiths, Feel Like Jumping, written by Bob Andy. Sound Dimension bouncing that rhythm away, the blazing horns, just amazing recordings. And that, of course, is the difference between analog recordings and modern day recordings in terms of everything being overdubbed and dropped in. But in those days, the musicians gathered together as 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, the drum roll, and everyone played together. The singer had to sing along in time. And of course, if the singer didn't get it right, and they had to start again after 3 or 4 takes, the musicians would begin to get, yeah, come on, let's get this right. It's IrieJam, it's all about the music, with David Rodigan, another IrieJam memory module.
If the feeling is good, I want to hear you say, Irie!
Now, David, do you remember when you recorded that?
I've got no idea, because you didn't tell me it was going to be me, so I'm standing thinking, hang on, what am I on the... Just a minute, what's going on? And of course, those are memory modules I did... well, I guess a few years ago. I mean, I can remember what I did in the summer of '67, but don't ask me what I did 2 weeks ago, because I'll be scratching my head and have to look at my diary.
Wow. Now, speaking of Marcia, she celebrates her birthday. Your memories of Marcia?
Isn't she? Oh, gosh. Well, having a terrible crush on her, of course, as I think we all did as youngsters, because when we saw her, we were like, oh, my God, she's so beautiful, which she is. And she has this amazing voice, still has this amazing voice. And I remember discovering her in 1969 because she came and sang Young, Gifted and Black with Bob and Marcia, Bob Andy and Marcia Griffiths on Top of the Pops.
Which is our American bandstand.
Or Soul Train.
Oh, Soul Train, yeah.
And it was incredible because it was a top 10 smash and everyone knew it. And it had introduced, in many ways, it introduced reggae to a British audience. And when you think about it, Young, Gifted and Black, I mean, there was the Nina Simone, I believe, I think it was Nina Simone's original, but we didn't know any other version. We just knew that version with the orchestral arrangements. It was a massive pop smash. So that's when I first became aware of her. And then, of course, as I got to know more and more about the music of Jamaica, I realized that she was a very, very important singer. Of course, we know that of all her work with the I3s, but we must never forget, and how could we, her amazing contribution. I think the Stepping Out of Babylon, that album she did, you know, that still stands as one of the great reggae, her version of Dreamland. There's a land that I mean, it's just... and all the Studio One the Studio One gems, and then the remakes of the Studio One gems, and she's still. I worked with her a couple of years ago here in New York. Chin put on a show from Rocksteady, the Rocksteady celebration of Rocksteady music, 66 in 2016, and it was amazing because it was her and Freddie McGregor, and once she kicked the shoes off, well, that was it. She kicked those shoes off. And she's all embracing, isn't she? She just has this incredible stage presence.
I spoke to Donovan Germain recently. He was actually here for KC. Like I'll tell you about
Kingston College.
Yeah, Alumni Association. They did a fundraiser for the man.
Oh, you're a Kingston College old boy
I'm
as
actually
well?
a Calabar. That's Dub Massacres.
Oh, okay.
That'll be Dub. We fight a lot about it. It's coming like me, you, and Arsenal and Chelsea. The same, similar.
Okay.
But he's actually working on a new album with her, and it is Marcia Griffiths Sings Studio One.
Oh.
The project is almost finished. They've recorded, he said, over 19 tracks already. So they're just kind of picking out the cream of the crop and then get ready to put that album out. So I haven't heard it. I remember when the project started, which was probably about 3-4 years ago, you know, Donovan would call me and say, Roy, send me your favorite Studio One songs. And I was sending them a whole bunch of songs and even mistakenly sending them some other labels too, because you know, sometimes that era you think almost everything was Studio One because that was the predominant, that was the studio
of course
to be. And I'm really glad that it's finished. It should be coming out early 2019, and I'm looking forward.
And she's 69.
And she's 69.
Sorry, 59.
Wow.
You should never ever declare
Give out the right
59. Declare a lady's age.
So. You are fortunate, as always, to have some exclusive dub plates with artists such as the legendary and the great Marcia Griffith. But you have the top of the pops dub.
Yeah, well, kind of, because what happened was I approached them a number of years ago, and I said it would mean so much to me if you could do a couple of dubs, them being Bob and Marcia, and they kindly agreed to do da-na-na-na-na. Da-na-na, you're my moonlight, Moonlight Lover on the Treasure Isle rhythm. It's beautiful. I'm not going to play that. But they also did one of my all-time favorite Bob Andy compositions. To be true to one another, to be kind and gentle to each other, to do what you're asked to do when it's asked of you. Feeling Soul.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like a psalm. It could be a psalm from King David. You know,
Wow.
it's such a beautiful poem. It's a beautiful piece from which I think if we were to just read the lyrics of Feeling Soul by Bob Andy, we could get through every day. So I asked them if they would do a version of it, which they did on the rhythm. There was a Penthouse version of the rhythm, there was a
Right.
Bobby Digital version of the rhythm. But then I have some colleagues in France called Daddy and Hyper, and they said, we love that special, but we'd like to take it and give it our own treatment. So they did this just a few months ago.
Wow.
So what you're about to hear is the new version of Feeling Soul. And it should start with Bob and Marcy. It should be track 1.
All right, let's take a listen.
Yeah.
New York City. Take your cassettes out and press record. Notice I said cassettes.
My name is Bob Andy, and they say I am a legend. But right now, I choose to turn the spotlight on David Rodigan, Feeling His Soul. Where's the Marcia?
Rodigan, you run things every time Marcia Griffith said that. The champion sound will run all town. Let it go, selector David. One in the world. Bob and Marcia.
Special.
No sound boy can't do the one in the world.
No. To be true to one another,
Whoa.
to be kind and gentle to each other, to give your best when it's asked of you, do what you've got to do when you're supposed to, rather than feel it. You've got to feel the soul down inside of you, rather than feel it, you know.
If you're to feel it, you got to be clean. You got to make it straight, you can't be lean. To share the joys Rodigan's gonna bring. To the true soul, you just have to cling, and then you can feel it. Ooh, you got to feel the soul down inside of me.
Sound boy, feel it. Says the sound boy, feel it. A sound boy, feel it. Hear the dub plates playing, Rodigan's playing, a sound boy praying, a sound boy feeling.
I am green with envy right now.
I love the rhythm, and it's always been one of my favorite rhythms. So when Daddy and Hyper, it was actually Daddy from Daddy and Hyper, a couple of guys in France who do some serious remixes. They're really on point. And they came up with the idea of using this rhythm, and I said, you know what? I think I've got another cut of that rhythm. So if we play track 2, Roy.
Oh, Rodigan kill them tonight. Oh, Rodigan kill them tonight. Didn't we mash up a sound? Didn't we kill
Does
the
that sound
sound?
like Barrington Levy? I think it does.
Ooh, yeah. Still the body. Ooh, yeah. Still the body. Ooh, yeah. This is it. Yeah. What kind of world are we living in? Yeah. What kind of sound are we playing with? Yeah. Killing a sound, it's very easy. Rodigan sound is the champion. Sound boy, no need to test, no need to try. Rodigan kill them tonight. Don't even try or even think about it. Rodigan sound It's the champion sound. No need to test, no need to try.
Down by the river.
Wow. Now, I was watching you on BBC One Extra with an interview you were doing with Barrington Levy.
Deep in the heartland. I mean, you're talking about Clarendon, central Jamaica, up in the mountains. I mean, that was deep.
Yeah.
And you know, he doesn't do interviews.
No, he doesn't.
And he said, you want to interview me, you got to come and find me. That was a 3-hour car journey across those bumpy roads as we slowly climbed that Carty Hill. We're on the top of Carty Hill. The view is, the panorama is
I
phenomenal.
could see.
Yeah.
Amazing. Like you said, he doesn't do interviews.
No.
Very hard to get to do an interview, even hard to get dub plates. So
Yeah, and hard to find him where he lives because he's a country boy. He's not coming to town. Does
But
he have to?
he started a radio station, I heard.
Yeah, that's right.
How's that?
Kiss Roses FM. Apparently it's doing very well. It's a regionalized radio station. He's trying to expand it across Jamaica. But yeah, it's based in his yard.
Wow.
Can I play another Barrington?
Oh, gosh,
Can
it's
I
your
just say
show.
before I play it that there's a connection here to the great Augustus Pablo. Press play.
David Rodigan, ya dub boys hooligan, them can't hold and talk to you, them talk to you, Sir Highness. Mad thing, watch it. Oh no, oh, see, went away to a far, far land. Kill some sound in a Japan, murder some sound in a New York. Now welcome back to your own land. Come from England to make some vibes, just to keep your fans alive. But some dub, some sound playing we, that's not right in our book. Yes, some dub, some sound playing we, that's not right in our book. Like sex and guns, now put them nowhere. Now put it the Lord the way them a say. Don't bend down, just keep them to the ground. Ask the nigga, make the girls them panic. Rodigan. Kill some sound and let them know. Kill some sound, let them know that's how you grow. Hold them corner, save them life. And that's no jive.
So David, my question was right now. These dub plates, they're treasures.
Yes, of course. Special.
But when I go to dances now, or I even go to sound clashes now, and I'm hearing the specials that are being cut and people playing astronomical figures to voice a dub plate that's good for just one dance, good for just let me even rephrase that, good for 30 or 45 seconds, because after the punchline, the dub really has no use. How do you interject these dub plates in what's going on? Because this is what's missing. Why the dances and the clashes and people are stopped going, because you're hearing more talk from the DJs, less music from the record, and they're only playing for 35 seconds.
In the food chain, the DJ is at the end of the food chain. He or she is not at the front of the food chain. So, first comes the songwriter, the musicians who accompany the songwriter, the singer who sings the song, the recording engineer. Let's big up Sidney Bucker. Let's big up the great late Philip Smart, or for all he did. King Tubby's. The list is long of the Errol Thompson, the great engineers. Lee Perry, what he did at the Black Ark, who create a sound. And that's so important, the sound at Studio One. And without that, we don't have the music. So when all that happens, and the record is pressed, okay, we're not pressing records anymore as such. When that happens, finally, the DJ, the radio presenter, gets the product, gets the song. He or she, in my opinion, is duty-bound. A, not to crash the vocal. When I was trained at the BBC, if you ever continued speaking after the vocal kicked in, You were on the red carpet. No, you were seriously in trouble because you broke the rules of professional conduct. The music is sacrosanct and it must never ever take second place. So you were taught to time the intro before the
usually
vocal.
about 30 seconds, 30,
Yeah,
23,
and
5
woe
seconds.
betide you if you were still speaking when the first vocal came in. So that's the first thing that used to happen. Now, even on radio, when you hear a lot of the radio shows, you hear the DJs talking all over the music, allowing the music to play for 30 seconds. In a dance, you're hearing these so-called selectors screaming and squawking and screaming and shouting and hollering all over the music, jacking these songs up after 30 seconds. Why? What is the purpose? So what happens is the public start voting with their feet. They either exit the dance or they don't come to the dance in the first place. So these selectors who are scratching their heads, wondering why they're A, not getting forwards, B, why no one's coming to the parties anymore, C, they're not getting work, is because they, in my opinion, are putting themselves in front of the music. Some selectors now believe they are more important than the music that they play. And it will never, ever work. It can't be. Now, we know that dub plates came as a result of having something special to play in a dance. So if you're in a clash, okay, you need dub plates. But I remember when clashes didn't all rotate around sound about having a record with your name in it.
You got a special without a name in it. No one had it.
End of. Exactly. And that's what made it special, because it was a unique... When I cut my first dubs at King Tubby in 1979, he and Jammy gave me different mixes of songs, and they then were unique. That's how it was. When you listen to Jack Ruby's sound, he had different versions, different mixes off the 4-track.
I remember when I got different mixes on dubplate, and you paid for those different mixes of Dennis Brown, Hold On to What You Got, Love Light Shine. I can name the songs.
But you didn't pay a lot of money for them.
And I didn't pay. It was just pre-release, and they were mixed different from the record that came out.
But it wasn't an arm and a leg.
No.
Now, many of the artists are charging a large amounts of money. This is self-defeating. It is self-defeating. You cannot burn the candle at both ends. If you want selectors to be able to play dubs, you must be reasonable in what you're charging them, because then business will generate. But if you're outpricing yourself, young selectors simply can't afford it. And I think too much emphasis, okay, I'm playing some dub plates, but I can, in any CD you pick up of mine, you'll see a couple of dubs, maybe half a dozen, but the rest of the 20 tracks will be regular songs that I play. And I think here's the other thing. I think it is the duty of selectors, certainly where I'm from, is to mix the selection. So you pepper. You bring a little spice to your set by peppering it with dub plates, with specials. But never forget the importance of original songs that people want to hear. So I've just played, for example, I could have played the Sugar Minor.
Right.
I played the tenors. I played alternators. If we ever forget that these are the songs that were made before dubs, before specials, we're in trouble. We must always put the music first. We must put it on a pedestal, and we must pay it due allegiance. Without that, we do not have jobs. Selectors don't have jobs. Don't get bookings. One of the problems now with radio is that some DJs chat so much, as they say in Jamaica, like the yam chicken batty, that people are listening to streaming. Why? Because streaming is not interrupted. You're listening to the streaming services. We know who they are. Spotify is a big example. No DJ is blabbing all over the music. The music is allowed to breathe. And many people are saying, do you know what? I'll listen to Spotify because I can punch in the word reggae and I'll just get non-stop reggae. If I take out an annual fee membership, I don't even get interrupted with ads. So what's happening is more and more the music is going back to where it started, because that's what used to happen. DJs did not bum rush the music and chat all over it. And I'll tell you who's responsible here: the station controllers, the people who are supposed to be the program directors of these stations, who are allowing DJs to hijack the music. And sound systems, the bosses of the sound systems, need to be more responsible for the behavior of their DJs. They need to ask themselves, why have I strung up my sound system? Why is the public paying at the gate to come in and listen to us? And what are we going to do to provide the public with a great night's entertainment? We will play the music.
Wow. With that said, let's play the music.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned to the best. David Rodigan in the class by himself.
Yeah, you don't know Johnny has been a dancehall godfather for David Rodigan. This one is a classic. Roddy Sound Station. Whoa, 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 my sound. Rodigan. David Rodigan, the king. Just let the truth manifest itself. 'Cause man was made out of love. Forever be to your brother's true love. 'Cause respect is overdue. Whoa, whoa. But how can I be ungrateful after all these tunes that Rodigan play? Sound boy, I ain't gonna break my promise to Jaja. I ain't gonna break my promise to him never. I ain't gonna break my promise to my sound. I ain't gonna break my promise to Jah never. Jah gave you that moon that brightens up the night. Oh, how the moonlight glows. And Jah give you them stars, they twinkle in the skies. Oh, we love them starlight so, whoa, whoa. But how can I...
See, you know, David, let me say this, man. When you come to town, the celebrities just come out of the woodwork, man.
Sting International. Bob,
I
Chris,
happen
the dub
to.
master. You just happen to be in the area.
I happen to be in the community, in the vicinity, and I'm like, that's Sir David Rodigan on the radio.
Almost, see. Do you know what we're going to do now? I couldn't resist it.
Yeah.
Because every time I think about, there's a rhythm, there are some great rhythms. Let me tell you, the favorite rhythm of Ricky Trooper when he used to play Kilimanjaro was the Cuss rhythm.
Yeah.
So when I cut back that Bob Marley, I cut it back on the Cuss rhythm.
Oh.
Iron Lion Zion blew his mind. In the Clash, 97. Junior Lynn, if you're listening, out there in Long Island, Strong Island.
Yeah.
The Jam Rock Club, that was a history dance.
Yeah.
History dance.
So I said to myself, do you know, there's another rhythm that I also love, and all selectors love it, because there have been so many versions of it. I mean, we could sit here for an hour and play versions and versions of Big Up Yourself, Sting International. Can someone tell me the secret of Sting International, how he never, ever gets to look any older than an 18-year-old schoolboy who sneaked out of school?
He sleeps in the day and he's in the studio at night.
So what I thought I'd do, I said, you know, I'm coming to New York, let me just put this together. So I'm going to play 4 versions. Well, actually, I couldn't mix a cake, but Roy's going to press play on it. The first one is an instrumental by Roland Alfonso. Now, I didn't discover this originally. The first time I ever heard the general rhythm was when I heard Leroy and Rocky singing this song called Love Me Girl. And in later years, they started versioning it on Channel 1. Strange how the dances are changing. And before that, and it became even the slower version at Channel 1, it became known as the general rhythm because Dillinger did that wicked piece on it. Right? So I thought, well, I can't play all the versions, but let's just tease the listeners to IrieJam now, wherever you're listening around the world, 360. How about this? This is a Roland Alfonso instrumental. It's called Shelly Belly. We're looking at the origins of the general rhythm. Turn it up.
Never let me down, girl. You will wear my crown, girl. You will never
Everybody sing.
Love me with all of your heart. Part 3. Hold on, before we play this. This is a real teaser. This is a real wind-up, because this is a B-side. When you get singles, sometimes you have to check the B-side. Because when Herman Chinroy decided to do a take of the general rhythm, instead of doing it at Aquarius, he did it at one of his biggest competitors. He did it down the road at Maxfield Avenue.
Wow.
At Channel 1.
Channel 1
and he
studio.
got this trumpeter to do this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Pull up, pull up. That's on the record. That's on the 12-inch. That's how it goes. The unknown trumpeter. I still don't. Herman Chinroy, if you can tell us who played trumpet on that, we'd love to know. But this is the final combination. It has to be. It has to be. Little Roy and Ian Rock. As opposed to Leroy Sibbles and Little Rock.
It's a really long time,
Big up Freddie McGregor.
young girls get